This is Gene Montrestelli, and welcome to the Tapping Q&A podcast, recorded live to tape from Williamsburg in Brooklyn. This is episode 275, originally aired June 21st, 2017. Hi, everyone. I hope this finds you well wherever you are and whatever time of day you're getting a chance to listen to this. Thanks for spending some time with me this morning. The podcast today is not the regularly scheduled podcast. It's still coming out as I record this Wednesday morning like it normally does, but the topic has changed. Yesterday morning, Tuesday morning, I was sitting at my desk and received a call as I was working away between client calls, and my friend Kristen called to tell me that our friend Brian had passed away Monday evening. Brian was only 53 years old, so obviously it was a great surprise to all of us. And so what I wanted to do today was I wanted to provide for you some tapping that you can use in moments of grief. And some of this was the tapping I did yesterday for myself to manage the day. A couple of notes about this. The first is, this isn't just tapping that you can do when you find out someone you've loved has died. We can be impacted by grief in the moment like that, on an anniversary of a death, or simply because that there is something that happens on some random Thursday afternoon that puts us back in touch with that loss. So the first is, this can be used at any time. The second, and I think this is the most important piece to remember, tapping is not a tool that we use in order to be completely emotionless. Like, it's not supposed to take the emotions away. What it's supposed to do is we use it to create well-informed proportional responses. Feeling grief and sadness right now is the absolute perfect thing for me to be doing. 15 years from now, if I am crying every single day because of this loss, we've probably gotten to the point that it is disproportionate. So we're not trying to eliminate the emotions. What we're trying to do is we're just trying to keep them in check so we can be in touch with them and feel them properly so they're not so overwhelming that they cripple us. So that's going to be the goal of the tapping right here. The third thing to keep in mind is, more than likely, if you are listening to this podcast on June 21st, because you always listen to the podcasts when they come out, you probably don't need this tapping today. You might find it useful to do, but what I want you to do is just stop for a moment, make a mental note, and just actually think these words in your head. There is a Tapping Q&A tap-along podcast for grief. Seriously. Take a moment and just think that. I'll wait for you. And the reason why I wanted you to do that is, at some point in the future, this is going to be a really useful tap-along audio for you or someone you love. And because you took that moment to make that mental note, when that moment comes, you're going to remember this is here. And you're going to be able to go to the website and you're going to be able to find it. And this is an invitation to anybody listening to this, at some point in the future, you're experiencing that grief and you don't know how to find this tap along, just go to the website, click the contact link, reply to one of my newsletters I send to you and say, hey, Gene, I know there's this grief thing. Where's it at? And I will very happily direct you to that tap along audio. So here is some of the tapping I did yesterday. It's going to sound like we just continued right along because I recorded it sitting at right here with the exact same microphone and the exact same setup. But this was some tapping I did yesterday in the moment, which I hope you find useful. And as always now with the tapping scripts, the tap-along audios, if you go to the website, you will find a full tapping script of this. It's right below the player on the website. If you have the Tapping Q&A app, if you click on the text section, this tapping will be spelled out there for you. So here's some tapping for grief. Take a nice big deep breath. And just move from tapping point to tapping point, repeating after me. Having a loved one die hurts. I am overcome with sadness. because I'm never going to get a chance again to spend time with this person I loved. I won't get to ask for advice. I won't get to share a joke. I won't get to cry alongside of them. Those moments are gone. And because of that, I hurt deeply. And the hurt that I am feeling is just my system telling me that I miss someone who is really important. And I want my system to know I am completely aware of that fact. I am aware of the loss. I am aware of the disconnection. And I give my system permission to feel that sadness. I'm not running away from the sadness. I'm not avoiding the sadness. It is simply my experience in this moment. But I also recognize the fact that I don't have to stay in that loss. It's not the only part of this experience. How lucky am I to have had this person in my life? I know my life is better because of their presence in it. I know my life is richer because of that experience. And I appreciate deeply the fact I knew them. Even though I miss them. I recognize the fact that this feeling isn't going to last forever. That this sadness isn't going to last forever. That this pain isn't going to last forever. Even though in this moment it feels like it will. In this moment, I'm allowed to feel grief. I don't have to fight it. But I give myself permission to know it's not my total experience. This experience is more than the grief. I'm allowed to appreciate. I'm allowed to celebrate. I'm allowed to honor this friendship. They will be missed. I will feel the sadness of their loss again. And all of that is because they are loved. I don't have to feel sadness to honor the friendship. Feeling sadness is one of the ways I can honor the friendship. I give myself permission to honor it in so many other ways. am so lucky they were in my life. And remembering that is so much more important than the sadness of their loss. This sadness will pass. This grief will pass. But my connection to them will remain forever. As I am editing this audio, I just went back and re-listened to all of that, and there's no gentle, easy transition out of that tapping. I hope it was useful. Even a day later, going back as I'm editing this and re-tapping along to it, it's useful. And I will come back to tapping like this again. And so I would, again, encourage you, make a mental note. Know where this audio is so that at some point in the future you need something like this, you know it's there. Again, we have the audio, which you're listening to now, as well as a typed up script, which you can find at tappingqandapodcast.com. Click on the link for episode 275. Or if you've downloaded the Tapping Q&A app, across the top there are a number of tabs. If you click on the tab for text and you just search for grief, it will take you right to this. So you can just tap right along with it without having to hit play. You can do it anytime, anywhere. If you know someone who could use this, please pass this along. As always, if you got questions, you have comments, if there's something that I can do for you in the podcast or serve you personally, please reach out to me. My email address is Gene, Gene, at tappingqanda.com. If you just go to the website and you click on the contact link, I will get that email message. I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear how I can be helpful to you in the future. Next week, we'll be back to the regularly scheduled content, more stuff that is useful for you. For the Tapping Q&A podcast, this is Gene Montrestelli. I hope you have a great day, and I will talk to you real soon. Bye-bye. The Tapping Q&A podcast is copyright Gene Montrestelli Tapping Q&A 2016. All views expressed by guests are those of the guests and not necessarily of Gene Montrestelli or Tapping Q&A.